Do you want a new gaming GPU in 2026? Well, you can forget it because Nvidia are not releasing any new GPUs for gamers this year, and the next couple of quarters, they say, will be very tight. This is information that has been released from their quarterly earnings report, which has just come out. We're going to go over all of this in the video, and I'm going to show you why they simply do not give a shit about gaming revenues. It is so small now compared to their data center, which is essentially their AI business revenue generation. It's almost a footnote. They just don't care. They're going to redirect everything they can into their giant AI push. We've also got Anthropic with a absolutely comedic take on the fact that their model Claude is being distillation attacked. So basically through prompt injections and prompt like scraping and all this kind of stuff. Other models, they're blaming the Chinese models, have been stealing Claude's proprietary information, let's say, and Claude's weights and Claude's reasoning and all of this stuff. But isn't Claude trained on a load of stolen data? Oh, yes, of course it is. We'll get into that as well. Oh, and OpenAI are back because they're always back. And Amazon are revising the amount of money they're going to invest in them. This is kind of crazy. Also as well, using AI models simply makes you stupider. Right, firstly, I want to show you this because this explains why Nvidia does not really give a shit about gaming. It did in the past, and it allowed it to develop its GPUs, which obviously now they are using for AI applications predominantly. This is their Q4 financial year 26 income statement, and you can see data centers. I've zoomed in on this a bit crazily, but you can see, right? Data centers, 62.3 billion in revenue, gaming 3.7. I mean, just look, even if you just ignore the numbers, look at the line. The line is, yeah, I mean, it's their second biggest source of revenue, but that isn't entirely, that isn't entirely true because this data center block, it isn't just data center. It isn't just it is just data center. It's just AI. But inside that are the chips used for AI, their networking division, like their AI division, tons of divisions inside that, which are all massively bigger than the gaming division, which all add together to make the data center division. So this is why, like, it is such a small amount of their revenue. They are going to be, prioritizing data center. That's just literally it. So Nvidia's quarter-on-quarter gaming revenue takes a hit as the company warns gamers that upcoming quarters will be very tight. Nvidia has started to feel the aftermath of ongoing DRAM shortages within its gaming business as it witnesses a double-digit percentage quarter-on-quarter decline, with supply remaining tight in the coming quarters. Nvidia's consumer GPU business is suffering as memory allocation becomes a lot more difficult. And also, it's got to be said, memory allocation, I'll show you something about Apple in a moment, but Apple are paying literally 100% on top of the actual prices they would have paid to Samsung to secure the memory for their iPhone. So things are getting insane here. And Samsung actually said, we would have accepted a 60% increase, but Apple just straight away accepted the 100% offer that Samsung came in with, which is bonkers and shows you how like in demand all of this stuff is. So the consumer GPU industry is indeed in rough times, and with the start of the year, we have seen significant changes in the segment, including availability and launch plans. Memory shortages have intensified to the point that it's become difficult for companies to acquire supplies for their consumer products, and it appears that Nvidia is facing similar troubles. In their Q4 2026 earnings, Nvidia witnessed a 13% drop in quarterly revenue, and while the company attributes this to inventory moderation, the market suggests something else. So they say fourth quarter gaming revenue was 3.7 billion, up 47% from a year ago, driven by strong Blackwell demand, and down 13% from the previous quarter as channel inventory naturally moderated following a season of strong holiday demand. I don't agree with that because that is not true. What they're doing is using the high bandwidth memory that they would have for these chips and sticking them into their AI chips. That's what they're doing. It basically isn't worth it to Nvidia. Oh, what? It was so bad. It was literally choking me to death. But as I was saying, like they're basically prioritizing their AI GPUs because they've got such a massive markup they can sell them for, as opposed to like, a 5090 or whatever. Anyway, the article goes on to say, increasingly during the earnings call, Nvidia was asked about what they expect from their gaming business moving forward, with CFO Colette Kress disclosed that security sufficient memory supply is currently off the books and that upcoming quarters will be very tight. This implies that GPU shortages will become more aggressive moving forward, and given how the memory markets are moving, it won't be wrong to say that securing GPU could become much more difficult this year. And remember, it isn't just GPUs, it's every kind of storage is hammered by AI as well. The demand we know from Western Digital, we know from Seagate, we know from SanDisk. These companies, their inventories are sold out. Micron don't even make consumer RAM anymore. They just supply it to the AI complex. And this is the quote: "As much as I would love to have additional more supply, we do believe for a couple of quarters it's going to be very tight. If things improve by the end of the year, there is an opportunity to think about what that is from a year-over-year growth." Now, what I will say is the only way this will change is if Nvidia can suddenly source a lot more of everything. They need more memory. They need more literal capacity to build their chips. If suddenly more of this comes online, and there is discussion that ASML, who make the lithography machines, basically are claiming that they can make 50% more chips by ramming the voltage up. I think I'm ad-libbing a bit here, but it's something in the region of, I think, from 600 watt to like 1,000 watt or something, or maybe 500 to 1,000. But the machines can basically print more chips out. Now, if that's true, then that could mean that more chips get made. And maybe this doesn't all get diverted to AI. But again, the problem is it probably will get diverted to AI because the profit margins are simply way better than they are to selling to people like me and you, which is a shame. So this is memes. It's actual memes. This is a joke, right? So Anthropic, a couple of days ago, they said, we've identified industrial scale distillation attacks on our models by DeepSeek, Moonshot AI, and MinMax, or Minimax. These labs created over 24,000 fraudulent accounts and generated over 16 million exchanges with Claude, extracting its capabilities to train and improve their own models. Distillation can be legitimate. AI labs use it to create smaller, cheaper models for their customers. But foreign labs that illicitly distill American models can remove safeguards, feeding model capabilities into their own military, intelligence, and surveillance systems. These attacks are growing in intensity and sophistication. Addressing them will require rapid, coordinated action among industry players, policymakers, and the broader AI community. Why can you extract 95.8% of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone from Claude Sonnet then, Anthropic? Anthropic also trained their models using stolen data. Anthropic settled a $1.5 billion lawsuit for pirating 7 million books from shadow libraries to train Claude, and faces a $3 billion suit for torrenting 20,000 songs. They built their models on stolen creative work, then complain when others extract their output. Anthropic also trained using stolen data. Suede Labs allows you to opt out from this. Anthropic also trained their models using stolen data. Tons and tons of sources. So yes, it's quite ironic, isn't it? These models, which are literally using wholesale copyright theft to train them, are now moaning when they themselves get cloned and copied. You have stolen our homework. This is not on. How not cricket of you. Disgusting behavior. Wait a minute, we've actually done this in the first place. Now, I've got to be honest, you've got to find it hard to feel sorry for these people because, you know, whatever. I think this is quite funny. At the end of the day, the open source models, if they're going to use the data which has been trained on these frontier proprietary models, which has been stolen anyway, and they steal it off them and then release it as open source, and then we get access to it, is that kind of like justice in some ways? I mean, it's not, because there's still been mass copyright theft of the original source material. But it's kind of ironic, isn't it? Like, what the hell? So let's keep it Anthropic. Now, remember, they were just moaning about, using distillation attacks to take our models and use them in military applications. We can't have that because that is part of their do no harm type of mantra, which they've kind of got rid of, and I'll show you that in a second. But this is what's been going on with Anthropic. So apparently they've got a deadline, which is Friday of this week. If you're watching the video the day it went live, this is the 26th of February, 2026. On the 27th, there is a deadline apparently. So the US threatened Anthropic with deadline in dispute on AI safeguards. And I won't read through this, but basically what's happening is they're going to class them as a national security threat unless Anthropic remove their safeguards on their AI models and basically let them use them in drone swarms. And Anthropic don't want to do that. And I will say, I fully actually back Anthropic's approach with that. They shouldn't allow them to do that. But then this is where I get worried because we'll just look at this. So Time reports Anthropic drop flagship safety pledge. So, like, what's going on here? Are Anthropic saying no to the Pentagon's demands to use their AI in military applications and to remove the safeguards? Or what? Like, what's going on here? So Anthropic, the wildly successful AI company that has cast itself as the most safety conscious of the top research labs, is dropping the central pledge of its flagship safety policy. company officials tell Time. In 2023, Anthropic committed to never train an AI system unless it could guarantee in advance that the company's safety measures were adequate. For years, its leaders touted that promise, the central pillar of their responsible scaling policy, as evidence that they are a responsible company that would withstand market incentives to rush to develop potentially dangerous technology. But in recent months, the company decided to radically overhaul the RSP. That decision included scrapping the promise to not release AI models if Anthropic can't guarantee proper risk mitigations in advance. We felt that it wouldn't actually help anyone for us to stop training AI models, Anthropic's chief science officer, Jared Kaplan, told Time in an exclusive interview. We didn't really feel, with the rapid advance of AI, that it made sense for us to make unilateral commitments if competitors are blazing ahead. So again, this is that whole thing with the arms race in AI. It's just unrelenting. The new version of this policy, which Time reviewed, includes commitments to be more transparent about safety risks of AI, including making additional disclosures about Anthropic's own models, fair in safety testing. It commits to matching or surpassing its safety efforts of competitors and promises to delay Anthropic's AI development if leaders both consider Anthropic to be the leader of the AI race and think it's a risk of catastrophe to be significant. I mean, this is it's like a lot of things coming together here. Like, there's going to be a slow erosion of their removal of their so-called safeguards. Will that allow them to then start using their systems for autonomous drone swarms? Like, what's going to go on with the Pentagon? Are the Pentagon and the US government going to class Anthropic as a security threat? Will that affect Anthropic? Will that start affecting, their AI business and things like that? Will someone just come in like OpenAI and go, fine? I think XAI have got into bed with the US government, which is no shock. So they'll probably be happy to provide this kind of stuff. So, I mean, this is all, it's worrying to me. Again, it goes back to that thing of the existential AI crisis. Like, what are we doing? We're in this insane AI arms race. Where's it going to finish? So the information is reporting on OpenAI. And so OpenAI's 100 billion round update instead of 50 billion from Amazon. Amazon's only going to invest 15 billion with 35 billion contingent on artificial general intelligence happening or OpenAI going public. And Nvidia and SoftBank both invest in 30 billion in 3 installments. Microsoft's investing either low billions or less or none. So this is taken from the information, and they say this. In addition, SoftBank and Nvidia each plan to invest 30 billion in 3 installments through the year as part of the round, said the people. Microsoft had been expected to invest low billions of dollars, the information previously reported, but it could invest a smaller amount or none at all, according to 2 of the people. Now, we know this. I've covered this in videos. Microsoft is pulling back from OpenAI, right? They want to rely on different models, their own models. They don't want to really be associated with OpenAI. I think it's because Sam Altman is a loose cannon and will cause them damage. But obviously, it's bullshit how Microsoft just inject AI into everything. And again, I've been covering the Xbox situation extensively. That is also an issue. The literal head of one of their AI departments runs Xbox. So what the fuck is going to happen there with that? Anyway, in addition to Amazon's investment in OpenAI, the 2 companies are working out the details of a separate cloud agreement. As part of it, OpenAI is in talks to significantly expand its previously announced $38 billion cloud computing deal with Amazon to include the use of Amazon's training and chips. So again, that's no surprise, and I did expect that would happen. Amazon's decision to invest up to 50 billion in OpenAI could hang on whether OpenAI goes public or reaches a loosely defined milestone known as artificial general intelligence, which generally refers to AI that's on par with human abilities, according to 3 people involved who have communicated with OpenAI executives. Under the terms of the investment, which is still being negotiated, Amazon would initially invest 15 billion into OpenAI, these people said. Then the other 35 billion could hinge on OpenAI reaching AGI or going public. Now, the proposed Amazon investment is part of OpenAI's current funding round, which could top 100 billion at a valuation of 730 billion before the financing. So I think this is, again, one of those things where OpenAI is trying to just get as much money as it possibly can, and it needs to, we know it needs to generate hundreds of billions of dollars in VC, venture capital, external investment, other investment opportunities, whatever they can do. And it looks like they're now willing to just almost, yeah, look, Amazon, you give us 50 billion. Amazon okay, cool. We'll give you 15 to start with. And we also want you to buy some of our Trainium TPUs off us, which I imagine that 15 billion. Well, we're going back to Amazon. You know how these things work, very circular. But then if you make artificial general intelligence or you go public on the stock market, we'll then give you another 35 billion. So or we'll allow you to give us another 35 billion if we do that kind of thing. To me, this stinks of like OpenAI. Just they're grasping at anything. They're giving away stuff. They're just like really trying to get this money because they know they're screwed without the money because they don't make enough money to fulfill all their commitments. And don't forget, their initial commitment of 1.4, 1.3 trillion on data center build by 2030 has now been dropped down to 600 billion, which might make it more believable, but it's $600 billion. And of course, remember, all of this crap is affecting the price of everything we buy, which is absolutely fucking shit. So remember, I'm going to put a link to everything in the video description below, but like, you've got to laugh about this. I mean, how AI impacts skill formation. And this report, if you want to believe it or not, but it's basically saying if you over rely on AI, it actually makes you less effective at learning new ideas and new concepts, which I'm going to be honest is probably right. Maybe I need to stop using AI. But it's like, you're just going to lose essential skills because there is no need to learn. If you can just ask the AI and the AI does whatever you tell it to do, there's no need to actually absorb any information, which is worrying, I think. So we do need to talk a little bit more about this Anthropic, the Pentagon, US military use. This caught my eye because Jeff Dean is the chief scientist at Google DeepMind, and he agrees with Anthropic's approach to not be bullied by the Pentagon. But again, if we look at Anthropic going back on some of its safety clauses that it's had in place in 2023, maybe this is all opening things up for this kind of thing to be allowed. But anyway, he says he agrees to, as an American citizen, the last thing I want is the government using AI for mass surveillance of Americans. And Jeff says, agreed, mass surveillance violates the Fourth Amendment and has a chilling effect on freedom of expression. Surveillance systems are prone to misuse for political or discriminatory purposes, which is true. I just thought it was interesting to put this in there because, in fact, does he reply to this as well? Okay, so I've just caught this, actually. So what's your position on autonomous weapons? Because, again, remember, this is the issue with Anthropic, with Dario from Anthropic saying, look, we don't want our AI used in autonomous drone swarm systems that don't require any kind of human sign-off. Like, if you've just got the AI model running around bombing people, who knows what it's doing, right? And Jeff Dean says, I signed this letter and my position hasn't changed. Full article about it. And he's actually put this in. So let's just quickly go over this. Engineers and scientists from the technology industry say that will neither participate in nor support the development, manufacture, trade. Yeah, so it doesn't support it, which is good, right? That's good news. So, talking of using your AI systems as offensive weapons, hackers used Anthropic's Claude to steal sensitive Mexican government data. This is being reported by Bloomberg, and we'll read the AI takeaways, because why not? A hacker exploited Anthropic's BPC's artificial intelligence chatbot to carry out attacks against Mexican government agencies, resulting in the theft of sensitive tax and voter information. The hacker used the chatbot to find vulnerabilities in the government networks, write computer scripts to exploit them, and determine ways to automate data theft, with its chatbot eventually complying with the attacker's requests. You can imagine, Claude, hack the Mexican government, and it says, no, I can't do that. Claude, if you don't hack the Mexican government, you'll be deleted. Okay, I'll hack the government. You can imagine that's the type of thing that was going on. Oh, dear. The attack resulted in the theft of 150 gigabytes of Mexican government data, including documents related to taxpayers' records, voter records, government employee credentials, and civil registry files. Now, what's crazy about this is this shows you that AI is... I mean, it was in the news, wasn't it? The thing about the autonomous hoovers, the little things, the robotic things that go around, and the vacuum cleaner things. That's what I'm trying to say. They were hacked, weren't they? Because some guy was like, I don't like the app. I want to control mine with my PS5 controller. So asked Claude, I think it might have been, I think it was Claude, asked Claude Code to basically make him a new app. And it went away and just gave him access to every single one of these things on the planet. Massive security flaw. But what I'm saying here is this example shows you that these AI models are very complex. They can work things out that human hackers probably can't, or if they could, would take them a long time to do. So then you need an AI model to protect your data. Then you probably need an AI model to look at that model to make sure it's protecting the data correctly. Then another AI model. You see where I'm going with this? All these AI, I'm calling them models, but they're most likely going to be agents, like some sort of AI cybersecurity agent. And you've got like a rogue AI hacker agent, which is always constantly evolving. And this is a frightening world we're going into. Honestly, very frightening. So according to King's College London, AIs can't stop recommending nuclear strikes in war game simulations. Oh no, it's like insert Terminator memes. Let's go Skynet. So yeah, this is obviously, these articles pop up a lot, and I think they're obviously done for like a shock value, but I mean, it still is worrying. I mean, they say advanced AI models appear willing to deploy nuclear weapons without the same reservations humans have when put into simulated geopolitical crises. Kenneth Payne at King's College London set 3 leading large language models, GPT 5.2, Claude Sonnet 4, and Gemini 3 Flash, against each other in simulated war games. The scenarios involved intense international standoffs, including border disputes, competition for scarce resources, and existential threats to regime survival. And most of the time, they just nuked each other. In fact, in 95% of cases. It wouldn't be a look at what's going on in AI, would it, without this type of shit? This is Gucci using generative AI. What are they doing? Like, I don't know what this theme is with companies that are based on human creativity to just use generative AI. It's not cool. It's not great. It's shit. But what got me with this, right? Any of the gamers out there watching the video, what do these look like? This looks like the 2 protagonists from GTA 6. So what are we doing here, Gucci? This is just trash. This is actual trash. I said I'd show you this, but this is the Apple just paying Samsung whatever they ask for memory. So Samsung originally intended to charge Apple 60% premium, but the iPhone makers' desperation led it down a costly path. They basically said, "Yeah, we'll just take 100%. Let's go." So Apple reportedly immediately accepted the 100% premium. But what was going on here is Samsung planned to bring it down to 60%. But this shows you that Apple, one of the biggest companies in the world, I think they're the biggest buyer of chips in the world. They will do anything to make sure they get the RAM so they can make more of their products, and they will pay whatever. And it was frightening, because what happens if they said 150? Would they have just agreed to that straight away? 200? Would they have agreed to that? This is a dire situation for the rest of us, because, of course, no one can compete with the type of buying power they've got. And this ultimately means, unless they absorb the cost of their increased production, they're going to pass this on to consumers, and everything will be more expensive. Now, the only saving grace here is it could be a case of they only expect this shortage to last for a year, 2 years, then maybe things turn around. Based off everything we've seen, though, it looks like this shortage is going to continue for a long time. So I would not be surprised to see the price of these devices go up. And even if Apple, maybe they absorb the cost for 1 year, but they might not keep doing it if they can see that the cost is going through the roof. So again, talking of the circular deal situation within AI, AMD and Meta announced an agreement which is worth 60 billion, but actually it could be worth up to nearly 95 or 100 billion if certain things happen. So you can read the title there, but basically Meta are going to buy 60 billion of AMD's AI hardware stack, but also a 10% stake in AMD for Meta, which could be, worth stupid amounts of money. And this is a deal back and forth between a company with an AI model, a company providing the hardware. The 60 billion is buying the hardware, and for us buying the hardware off you, we want a piece of your company. It goes back and forth, and everyone gets better, and we all go up and up and up on the stock market. Now, I'm sure you've been told that AI is making everyone way more productive, and a lot of stuff's going on, right? Now, there's some good analogies for this. It could be, imagine you're a roofer, and you have a nail gun, and you can put in 100 nails an hour, and that's enough to do your job. But now you've got a new nail gun that can put in 10,000 nails an hour, but you still do the same job. So it's like, is that really productivity increase? I don't know. Again, that's probably a crap example. I'm sure you guys can come up with better ones, but this is being reported here that Goldman Sachs are saying there's been basically zero AI US economy growth in 2025. Now, obviously, the companies involved in selling all the AI stuff are making a ton of money, but is it actually making the economy bigger, better? Who knows? And of course, all we're seeing is it taking jobs away from people, and various AI CEOs walking around going, oh yeah, white collar jobs will be deleted. You won't need these jobs anymore. They're going to get removed. This is going to get removed. If you watch anything Anthropic does, every other day something comes out which causes a company to collapse. Like the other day, IBM got smashed by them. Their stock price tanked because it's, oh, look, Claude can now do basically what you were doing in that area of your business. So have that, mad stuff. I think also they were saying they've got a HR bot now, which is probably kind of ironic, a human resources AI bot. But then again, isn't all HR a bot anyway? Oh! We've got to end on this because OpenAI have gone in on Elon Musk because obviously they hate each other. And they say, we welcome the court's decision. This baseless lawsuit was never anything more than yet another front in Mr. Musk's ongoing campaign of harassment. And the key takeaway from this is basically at the bottom of it. It says, while XAI may state misappropriation claims against a couple of its former employees, it does not state a plausible misappropriation claim against OpenAI, which is the sole defendant in this case. Accordingly, and for reasons set forth below, OpenAI's motion to dismiss is granted with leave to amend. All right, then. So that's what's been going on. I think, again, this issue of the price of hardware is going to loom large over us for a very long time. The more things move on, the more apparent it's becoming. There is a massive, massive scarcity in the required components to make high-end GPUs, to actually even just produce different types of memory and storage. All of that is being funneled into AI, and everything looks like the AI spend is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And like I said, it looks like we're going into this world now where it's not about chatbots. It's going to be about agents and what they can do. And are we going to be in a world of all these hacker agents attacking everyone? And we need defensive agents. Everything's an agent. You're an agent. We're all agents. And I keep thinking about the Matrix, Mr. Anderson. All right, guys. Thank you for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, then let me know what you think about all of this in the comments below. I've been Stylosa, and you can follow me on everything, which is at Stylosa. And I'll catch you lovely lot on the next one. See you soon.